Hey everybody, peace and blessings to you. Hope this video meets you well. Happy October 28th. That's when I'm recording this video. It is Tuesday evening. It is 4:24 p.m. and I'm in my backyard. It's chilly out here. It's calm, it's quiet, it's chilly. You know, has that fall energy. There's leaves all over the ground. And I'm going to walk and crunch some leaves and have a conversation with you while we talk. So the title of this video, the theme of this conversation that I want to have with you is food stamps, food insecurity and frequency. That's the title I came up with in my head. Food stamps, food insecurity and frequency. And I got 10 minutes to talk about what I got on my mind. I had this thought in my mind for 2 days, and it was really, really good. Really good thought in my mind of what I wanted this video to be all about. So let's see if I can pull it off. In case you're meeting me for the first time, you've never seen me before, I am Letitia. I'm a 43-year-old homeschooling, home managing, millennial mom of 5 children. I'm an immigrant living in the U.S. I was here for almost about 19 years. I was born in Barbados, and I consider myself an intuitive. I'm an INFJ empath. My life path number is 11. I also consider myself a new earth frequency messenger, beacon, light worker, however you want to consider it. I consider this season of my life an observation season, a learning and unlearning season. I consider myself a bridge. I am a kind of a sort of neutral personality in terms of I listen to regular people. I don't listen to hateful people. I don't listen to ignorant people. I don't listen to willfully blind people. I don't listen to all of those kind of fools. I listen to regular, everyday people, whether I agree with how they see the world or not, whether I agree with 100% of what they say. People who care about other people, who care about this planet, who care about life, and who care about breaking free of the system, who care about having a system, if they must be in a system, if they have a system that works for everybody, that is fair, you know, that is reasonable, where everybody has the opportunity and the ability to thrive. I care about those. I am interested in listening to those kind of people. Even if I might not necessarily agree with everything, I'm a listener. And I let my intuition and my discernment guide me. My intuition, discernment, resonance guide me when listening to people. And then I do a lot of thinking. I'm a deep thinker. So what I do with these videos is I share thoughts that I think are worth sharing, that come to mind, that may help somebody, may open a conversation, I don't know what it will do, but you know, just thoughts that I just want to release into the digital space, to release into the world, and then see where that thought, you know, moves on to, what it does, what, you know, how it grows, how, you know, you get what I'm saying. So anyway, food stamps, food insecurity and frequency. I just basically chose that title because they're all F's, and that's been the topic of the week. That's been the topic. You know, I've been watching a lot of videos where people have expressed their concern, and they've, you know, about the fact that, you know, people be losing their food stamps and their, you know, SNAP benefits and their food stamp benefits from November 1st. And there's a panic around that. And there is, you know, people making videos and telling you all the kind of things that will come out of that, you know, all the kind of things that will happen, all the bad things that will happen to people, and all the, you know, all the bad things that will come out of that. And there's people that are making videos also saying, you know, donate to the food banks, you know, let's help each other out. And, you know, people are coming up with ideas of how we can help each other out. And then there's some people that are making videos saying to look away if you see certain things happening. You know, I forget how they word it. If you see certain things happening that normally shouldn't be happening, but people are, you know, getting their food some way, somehow, and you witness it, to look away. You know, I hear things like that. And I wanted to kind of contribute to the conversation, but from a different perspective. I was hearing a lot of people speak about it in the sense of loss and all the bad things that are going to happen in that capacity. And I just wanted to speak life into this bad thing, this seemingly bad thing that is going to take place, that is causing fear, that is causing panic, that is causing people to declare all the bad things that will happen to people because of it. I don't want to speak life into that, really. I don't want to speak life into all the possibilities of the bad things that can happen. I want to speak life into the possibilities of the good things that could happen. Like, for instance, people coming up with ideas that they wouldn't have if this sense of security, or this system security was in place. You know, they would think, you know, people would be like, okay, well, the government got it. You know, these people probably provided for because they might be getting food. You know, it's just making people think about things that they wouldn't normally think about. Their neighbors eating, right? The neighbors having food. And I just see that there's life that could come out of it. That is things that can be reactivated that was lost, you know, that has been lost for a long time, like community and people inviting people into their home and feeding people, or people thinking about, you know, the neighbors and eating with the neighbors and providing for the neighbors. And I just think that, you know, good things can come out of it if we stop focusing on all the bad things that could come out of it and focus on what can we do, what's the part that we can play into helping each other out, you know. And I've been listening to people, and I've been listening to the ideas that have been coming up and the things that people are thinking of as to how to make sure that their neighbors, their community is provided for where food is concerned. And then I think that is what is also going to span from it is long run thinking about food security, and how having this heavy reliance on the government, on this capitalistic, corrupt government, this system that isn't designed to work for people, work for everyday people right now. It isn't designed, it doesn't care about people. You know, at the moment it's even way worse than it ever has been. And, you know, at the moment it's being run like a mob, like a business, like a you know, a mob or something like that. It's being run like a corrupt organization. It was always like that, but even worse now. You know, the veil, as people say, the veil is thin. The veil is completely gone. The disguise, the mask that it was wearing, the design, the costume that it was wearing has been removed, if that makes any sense. So people are seeing now that a heavy reliance on an organization that doesn't care about people in this way and could be corrupted in this way, right? And could be used or weaponized in this way. Maybe, you know, that wasn't, you know, that is no good for you now. That is no good for the people now. It doesn't serve the people anymore. And now we got to go back to thinking community minded and thinking about one another and looking out for one another and, you know, bringing back old ideas and fresh ideas. And I'm seeing the little remnant. I'm seeing that come up to the surface, even though you're hearing all about all the bad things that could happen, and people focusing on that a lot, and declaring that this could happen, and people could die, and people could starve, and people will steal, and people will do this, and people will do that. I want to speak life into it, and gratitude into it. Gratitude because ideas are going to come up, connections are going to come up, something new is going to come out of it. It's a blessing in disguise. It's a good thing. And instead of speaking speaking and focusing on the death of something old, the crumbling of something, a structure that was, you know, a safety net for people for a long time, let's speak life into it, and let's look out for one another and trust that our people will be fed, and our people will be taken care of, and our people will be taken care of, covered. They will find a way that people will be fed, and people will be okay. you know. Hey everybody, peace and blessings to you. Recording on Tuesday evening at on October 20th, 2025. I'm in my backyard. It's chilly out here, and I'm just taking a walk. And I'm going to record a second version of a video just in case I I'm not 100% sure if I said all the things I wanted to say. So let me tell you what's the title of that video. I called it food stamps, food insecurity, and frequency. And that's just a title. Don't read too much into the title. It is basically talking about those things, but I'm not, I'm just playing on the words that begin with F. Food stamps, food insecurity, and frequency. And I just recorded a version of this video, but just in case I watch it later and I'm like, oh man, I should have said that, or I should have said this, I'm recording it again, so I can, I'm going to do this again, so maybe I'll flow better the second time. Maybe I'll say more, or get all the things that I want to say in it this time. I don't know, but I just wanted to record it again just in case for when I watch it later. And knowing me, even though I might be recording two versions of the same type of video, I probably will post them both. So I was talking about food stamps, food insecurity, and frequency, and I was talking about how that's the topic that a lot of people are talking about at this time. And as I always say, even though it might feel that way based on that I don't always post talking about all the horrible things that are happening, because there are a lot. I don't talk about those things a lot. I talk about them sometimes, especially when I feel like I have something to say, like something really specific to say in regards to the bad things, right? But I honestly believe with all my heart and soul that even though it looks chaotic, it feels scary, it feels awful, it feels cruel, I really believe with all my heart that even though this is absolutely atrocious, like the cruelty and all that, good will come out of it, Yes, bad will come out of it too. Bad things will happen. People will find, bad things happen all the time. Bad things happen all the time, and it happens to any kind of person, whether you're a good person or a bad person. Bad things happen and good things happen. I believe that there's a lot of power in the tongue, and I don't want to speak death or speak grief or speak loss. I don't want to speak into that, because there's a lot of people speaking into that. There's a lot of people declaring all the bad things that are going to happen and making us aware of all the bad things that are going to happen, right? Or could happen, right? Like stealing and starving and dying, and not being able to feed your children, and not being able to provide for your children, and all these bad things. And I'm aware of the possibilities of all the bad things that could happen because of it. I also am aware of the strategy here. I understand that this is all about blaming. This is about having something work to your advantage, having people in control and in power, people in control of information, people that are in control of this. They're in control of everything, right? So they're putting out their manipulation and their gaslighting and their propaganda, and they're saying, oh, it's them. They're the reason why you're not getting your food stamps. And they're making people, they're trying to get people to blame the wrong people, right? To blame the people that are basically trying to save people's health insurance, right? To save, trying to use what little bit of leverage they have, right? To save people's health insurance, to save lives. At least that's what it seems, right, that they're doing, right? And we know, for anybody that's paying attention, that the Republicans aren't even anywhere near Washington D.C., so they're not even at the table. There's no negotiation happening, because they just send home everybody and they ain't even trying, right? They're using their propaganda, gaslighting, and manipulation to deceive people and try to convince people to blame the wrong people. And many times throughout this whole process, I keep wondering, as I'm aware of what is going on, and I'm looking, and I'm like, is that going to really work? So many times they have done things that to me seem so basic and so simple, so obvious. You could see it for what it is. And I would ask myself, is that going to work? And apparently it does, right? But will it work now is the question. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I don't know. It doesn't matter if it's going to work. Well, it does matter, but, I don't know if it's going to work, right? I hope it doesn't work. I hope that people open their eyes and start to pay attention, start to understand what's really going on. And what I'm hoping is that people, you're being forced to wake up now. Open your eye, and pay attention to what is real, to what is true, and not what is being said, and not what people are saying, not the lies that are being put forth to you, but to really, really get down to the bottom of things, to find things out. But what I wanted to say, and this is what I said in the other video, is that a lot of good things are going to happen out of this, right? Bad things are going to happen. We could focus on that, but you could also focus on the good things. You could also speak life instead of death. You could also speak into community. You could also speak into sharing. You could also speak into awareness. You could also speak into new ideas and connection and ways in which people will be taken care of and fed. You could also speak into trusting the divine. Whatever you call the divine. You could call it the divine God. You could call it the divine universe. You could call it whatever. You could call it your neighbors. You could call it whatever. The divine. The higher power that is looking out for all of us. The higher power that if we ask for help, if we just breathe and we ask for guidance, we ask for help, we quiet our mind from the noise, we quiet our mind from the blame, we quiet our mind from the fear, we quiet our mind from the panic, and we just, if you can, do something like this and get out into nature. You don't have to have a nice backyard. You don't have to have this in your backyard, but there's, if you can, just get outside. Just get outside and breathe in some fresh air and try to quiet your mind. Find a quiet place, quiet your mind, quiet the noise, and trust and believe. Have gratitude and say to the divine, the universe, to God, the I am, I am grateful. I'm grateful for the provision that the provision that is coming my way. I am grateful for the doors that are going to open. I am grateful for the opportunity that is going to come my way. I'm grateful for the connections I'm going to make. I'm grateful for the people I'm going to meet. I am trusting and believing that I will be fed, my children will be fed, that we will be taken care of. I am trusting and believing that I will find my people, that something good is going to come out of this. Because I want to say something. These are the smallest people on the planet. These people that are so cruel and feel so powerful and feel so big. These Goliaths, this Goliath, the machine that they're all a part of, they're not as big as they think they are, and they're not as powerful as they think they are. And we are more powerful than we think. We are more powerful than we think. And I don't want to. I'm aware of all the things that people would say when responding in a negative way about anything that anybody could tell them, that any kind of form of positivity or a positive thought that somebody says to them, they could come back to you with a negative thought. And I'm aware of all these negative thoughts that people say to me. That's why sometimes I get a little I feel a little funny when speaking aloud, because I could hear all the responses in my head, right? But you could either speak life or death. You could either trust or be fearful. You could either feed your faith or feed your fear. You know what I mean? Either way, what is it's just like one is a better way than the other. One will produce a better result. So